Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the new FX2 that's just been released and why I think this camera, the A7cii, could be a better option for you. Okay, so the FX2 has been released. A lot of people have opinions about it. I've been seeing a lot of hate, especially in the YouTube space. I don't think it deserves a lot of the hate that it gets, but I still think there could be better options to get instead of the FX2 for a lot cheaper. So I just want to give my opinion on where I think the FX2 sits. I currently own the A7 IV, which I'm filming on right now, and the A7cii and the A7S3. Now, the A7 IV and the A7cii are very similar, like the FX2. What they all have in common is they share the same sensor. So they've all got 33 megapixel sensors, all very similar, with some slight differences. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the price. So the FX2 in Australia is actually a lot different in price in relation to these cameras. So the price difference in America is very minimal. I think it's only a few $100s dearer. But in Australia, due to import costs and a bunch of other factors, there's actually a pretty big difference between the two. Now, I'll be comparing it to the A7cii, and the price difference between the A7cii and the FX2 is very drastic. So this is what I think is crazy. The A7cii right now is around $2,700 AUD, and the A7 IV is about $3,000 AUD. You can pick it up brand new. The FX2, which has just come out, is $5,300 AUD, which is insane. It's a huge increase over these cameras, and they share the same sensors. You're gonna get the same quality out of both cameras, and it has that kind of price difference. Just like, Australia, what are you doing? Like, I think it's crazy. So I have to take in consideration the price difference between the cameras when I'm recommending them to people or when I'm deciding what camera I should get. Now, if the price of the FX2 was lower, more similar to these cameras, I would pick the FX2. But unfortunately, price is a factor for a lot of people, and especially when it's that much, it's a very extreme difference. When you're talking about thousands of dollars difference, is it really worth it? Can you justify that? I would love to upgrade from my A7 IV to the FX2, but is it really worth the $2,300 price difference? I can't justify that. I don't think it's worth it. You can pick up a secondhand A7 IV for like $2,500, perfect condition. I can't justify spending that much more just to get a few features upgraded, and the quality is going to be the same. Same with the A7cii. You're actually getting more newer features in the A7cii, like the AI autofocus, similar to the FX2. It makes it even harder to recommend spending thousands more to get the FX2 when you've got all those new features in this camera. And this, secondhand, you can probably pick up like $2,300. So first we're gonna look at who the FX2 is actually targeted at. Now, the FX line, it's targeted more towards filmmakers. So if you're a filmmaker, they're amazing cameras. If you're just doing videography and not full-time filmmaking, I think this could be a better camera, especially for beginners. Now, I just want to go over some of the key differences between the A7cii and the FX2. So first off, internals are the same sensor, 33 megapixel. You're still gonna get crisp 4K footage oversampled from 7K. You got the same AI autofocusing chip in both cameras, so you're gonna get the same level of intelligence when it comes to autofocusing. Also, you're gonna get the same 1.5 times crop when you're filming in 50 or 60 frames a second. Exact same with the A7 IV, A7cii, FX2. It's all gonna be the 1.5 times crop if you're filming in slow motion. So that's 50 or 60 frames. Both cameras are full frame sensors, which is good because they're gonna perform better in low light over, say, the FX30. The FX30 is the APS-C. So the full frame is gonna perform better in low light, and you're gonna get better background blur as well, which is why I think the FX2 is a lot better than the FX30. You're gonna get the full frame sensor, you get mechanical shutter, which is way better for photos, and you're gonna get better low light performance, and you're gonna get better background blur. Some other differences, the FX2 is gonna have Cine EI mode, which, if you don't know what it is, you can look it up. It's gonna give you an overall better image. It helps you control your exposure better. I won't go into depth about that. It's not a huge deal. That is a cool feature. Another thing about the FX2 is it is compatible with the top handle, which means you can buy it for extra cost and you're gonna get the audio ports on it. And it's the same top handle as the FX3, so the top handle is really good. It just depends on if you're willing to spend the extra cost to get it. And it's definitely not necessary to get good video. You don't need it. You can always get a cheap handle from Amazon and get external recorders or some other audio source that can record 32-bit. So the dual native ISO when you're filming an S-Log3 is going to be 800 and 3200 on the A7cii, same as the A7 IV. On the FX2, it's going to be 800 and 4000. So on the FX2, they've bumped it up a little bit from 3200 to 4000, which I do appreciate. I think 4000 is a better number than 3200. I think it's going to be more useful, 4000. which means low light is probably going to be slightly better on the FX2 compared to the A7cii. but it's only a slight increase on the second base ISO, so I can't imagine it'll be that different. Still not going to be anywhere near as good as the FX3 or the A7S III. So if you film mostly in low light conditions, you might see slight improvements on the FX2, but honestly, it's not going to be that different. The FX2 and this camera both have the same image stabilization, which means that they both have the dynamic stabilization due to the AI processor. You're going to get the same auto framing feature, how it can zoom in and track you in the frame. Now, one thing the FX2 has, which is a really good feature that A7cii doesn't, is a built-in fan. This is especially useful for filmmakers because you're going to be filming for a long time. Usually the camera is going to be in unpredictable conditions and you're going to be filming for extended periods of time. Now the FX2, you can't overheat. Like, I've heard that the overheating is really good on the FX2. Due to that fan, you can just run it forever. The A7cii is really good and 99% of people who use this won't experience overheating. But if you're filming all day in hotter conditions, you could start to see some issues with this because it is a smaller design compared to the A7 IV and there's no built-in fans. Something to keep in mind, the FX2 is more targeted at filmmakers who film for a long time. The A7cii, more targeted at people doing videography and photos, not really all day filming. But don't get me wrong, this is more than capable of filming all day still. You just gotta keep in mind if you're filming in very hot conditions, this won't perform as well in those really hot conditions over extended periods of time. Most people won't have to worry about it. I've never experienced overheating. Even on the A7 IV, I've run all day on a tripod at a full day event right next to a window. Never experienced any overheating. But if you're in the sun a lot, it could be an issue. Now, an obvious feature of the FX2 everyone's talking about and have a lot of controversial opinions on is the new Viewfinder. Now, I think most people, when they're seeing it, they're like, what is that? Like, that is crazy. When I first saw it, I hated it. It's starting to grow on me. My first thought was, how am I gonna fit this in my camera case? How do I fit it in my bag? It's got this thing. I don't think it's gonna be as big of an issue as I originally thought it would be. But I'm still a little bit confused on why they added it because I don't think anyone was asking for a viewfinder. So it is a little bit confusing why they put that on there. Now, for me, I never use the viewfinder, very rarely. It can be handy when you're filming in very bright environments and you need to check framing, exposure. You can look into the viewfinder. It's going to give you a dark environment to be able to see the image very clearly compared to trying to look on the screen in the sun, and it's going to be a lot harder. But I think for most people getting the FX2, I don't think they're really going to use the viewfinder. And people doing filmmaking and that, I think usually just buy a monitor. So for me anyway, I don't think the viewfinder is a reason to upgrade. I don't really think I'll find it useful. The viewfinder on the A7cii is horrible. I don't like it. It's very small and compact. The screen isn't massive in there. It's more just useful for framing up a photo, getting good composition. Not as much looking into for extended periods of time to see the highest quality image possible. I find the flip out screen works just fine. Even in bright conditions, you can just pair a monitor with it and it'll be fine. Keep in mind though, the FX2 does have a full-size HDMI port. The A7S II has a micro HDMI port, so you're gonna need an adapter or a different cord if you do use a monitor. The FX2 obviously is a more professional camera. It's gonna have more customizable buttons. The A7cii does lack a bit here with the buttons, I think. Since it's built to be more compact, I think the A7cii is great to use the touchscreen since you have, swipe options on the touchscreen to access features. I don't see it as a huge deal not to have heaps of buttons on it. Whenever I'm using this camera, I can easily access everything I need to access when I'm videoing. Now, it is nice to have, a lot more custom buttons over the camera, but I find it's more of a workflow, so you get used to whatever setup that you have. So I tended to use the touchscreen a lot more on this compared to my other cameras. But one thing I love that the FX2 does have is the record button. So as soon as you press the record button, it actually lights up red around it. And there's other red lights on the camera to show that you're recording. So it's very obvious that you're actually recording. On these cameras, I wish they would make it a bit better with showing that you're recording. Now, I always turn on emphasize record display, which puts a red box around the screen. But even then, I wish there was something else on the camera to flash or illuminate when you're recording. So I do like that about the FX2. And just the overall build and feel of the FX2 is going to be more professional compared to the A7cii. Keep in mind the A7cii is a compact design. It's built to be compact. It's built to be small. It's built for vlogging. It's built for traveling. The grip isn't very big. If you're going to be holding this all day, you either need to attach some handles or something to help. Like this. So I'd recommend putting a cage on the camera first. Right here I have the tilter half cage. And then you can attach a handle just like this. And you can also attach side handles. It will make it more comfortable to hold over, trying to hold this tiny camera body. Now, one thing that is more professional about the FX2 is it has 2 SD card slots. Just like the A7 IV, you're gonna get 2 SD card slots. The A7C II, unfortunately, just due to the smaller design, only has 1 SD card slot. Not a huge deal. If you're a professional, you might want 2 SD card slots just for redundancy, just in case you want to record something at the same time on both SD cards. Say it's a critical part of a video where you can't do a retake. You might want to record on 2 SD cards at the same time, just in case one SD card fails. It can be a good option to do. Or if you've got someone else who's going to be doing editing, you might want to record the footage on 2 SD cards, and then you can just give off an SD card to someone at the end of the shoot without having to wait for the transfer times. But I think for beginners to intermediate, it's not 100% necessary to have 2 SD card slots. So I think if you're more of a beginner, you're not going to really need it. I think 1 SD card slot is fine. Just if you're filming in 4K, aim for a higher gigabyte card, just so you don't have to swap it out as much. Now, another cool feature about the FX2, which most people might not care about, it has 2 screw ports on the bottom, which is appreciated. Most cameras only have 1, like the A7C II. It's just gonna stop any moving when it's on a tripod or something. Like, you know how you have 1 screw on a base plate? It can twist a bit. If you have 2 screw points, it's gonna stop any of that twisting. Another feature I've seen with the FX2 is when you record and you tilt it vertical, all the settings on the screen actually tilt into a vertical format. This is something that could come with an update really soon, so I wouldn't count that out. Now, a quick recap, you're gonna get the same quality out of both cameras. It's got the same sensor, so it really depends on your workflow. If you're a filmmaker, the FX2 is a better option, just due to, the built-in fans, the extra SD card slot, the more professional layout and design, the top handle compatibility. But if you're in Australia, I don't think it's worth the extra cost. I think you're better off going with like a secondhand FX3. Even the A7S III, I've seen secondhand for like $4,000. I'm pretty sure at the moment you can get these for like $5,000 AUD. So yeah, if you're in a country like Australia where the price is drastically different, I don't think it's worth the upgrade to go for it, since you're gonna get the exact same image quality out of both cameras. Especially if you're more of a beginner, the A7C II is gonna give you those cool AI features, which is gonna make it a bit more future-proof than the A7 IV. So yeah, while the FX2 does get a lot of hate online, I don't think it's deserved. I do like the camera, and I would pick the camera to upgrade from my A7 IV if the price wasn't so drastic. But again, the price difference from the A7C II and the FX2 is too drastic for me to upgrade. Now, if you're a filmmaker in America, the FX2 is going to be a good option since the price isn't so drastic. But in Australia, I have to take that into consideration. So based on your country and where you are, the price might be the determining factor in whether you get it or not. But for me, the A7C II is an amazing camera to have with all those new AI features without spending the money of the FX2. So yeah, I'm going to hold on to these cameras and wait for the new FX3 Mark II to come out, or the A7S IV. So yeah, if you're a beginner, the A7C II I think is the better option for you, just considering price, and you're going to be getting the same quality of video out of the camera itself in a cheaper camera. Okay, so that's my breakdown on the A7C II and the FX2. Let me know in the comments what camera you would pick. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the FX2. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.